Hey, welcome to the Hoppy Hour, Banko's Hoppy Hour, episode maybe 6, don't know. We're here at the Yuengling Gift Shop and Museum, and I'm here with my friend, I call him my friend, Dick Yuengling.
We are friends.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we're here basically to talk a little bit about the beer business, things that are going on now, things that are going in the future, talk about this beautiful facility that we're at, and try to get people to get a feel for this nice gift shop that we're in today. And it's a beautiful facility, less than an hour away from Allentown, anywhere in the Lehigh Valley. It's great. The tours are here, the gift shop's here, and we'll get a little bit more of that later. So Dick, you've been in the business, I think we just talked a couple seconds ago, for 800 years or 8 decades.
I haven't been here 195 years, which is the age of the brewery, but I've been here for parts of 8 decades, and that's hard to believe.
Yeah, I always thought that my 47 years in the beer business for me, and I think, but I'm just a child compared to your career. Give us a little history of how you became the 5th generation brewer of this great beer.
Well, I was basically my dad and his brother after World War II took over from my grandfather when he passed away, and it was my dad's brother passed away in 73, I think. His son wasn't interested in it, and I was the only one that really wanted to take this over. I started here in 1958 at the age of 15, doing menial jobs around the brewery, and I'm still here.
Yeah.
So that's what, 60, almost 70 years later, 65, 68 years later. So I'm still here, and I'm just born into the family, and it was always in my blood to do this. I hated school, which isn't something to tell kids, but I didn't like school. All I wanted to do is run this place. I always felt we could survive. At the time in the 50s and 60s and 70s, there were a lot of coal region breweries. Allentown had Horlacher and Neuweiler. There was another one over there. I can't remember the name of it. Old Dutch. Old Dutch was over there. And Reading had breweries. Everybody's gone. We're the only ones left.
Yeah. I think down in Allentown, the old Neuweiler Brewery is now apartments. And Horlacher, I don't even know. You could probably drive down there.
I don't even know where that was.
Yeah.
I know it was.
In Caddy, the old Eagle Brewery, and in Northampton they had them. So I guess it's really rewarding that you actually have your family now working right alongside of you.
I have 4 daughters in it. They're all in different areas, so we don't get any fisticuffs or fights or arguments. They're all in different parts of the brewery and different jobs, which is a good thing. And I have 9 grandchildren. A couple of them seem to be showing an interest. One of them is 21, 22 years old. The other one's about 19. But you know what? Maybe we can keep this going for another couple more generations. Who knows?
Yeah.
I always felt we had good beer, and we always made good beer. We had a great brewmaster from Shenandoah when I was a kid, and he was still here when I bought it in '85 from my father, and we always had good beers. And we developed the lager brand, and that really put us on the map. You remember that back in probably '87 or '88, something like that, and it just took off, and it's. We've been a fortunate little company.
Absolutely. Your brands are really great for our business at Banko, and I think I unloaded when my checkered career or whatever. I unloaded the first shipment of Yuengling products that came over from Liberty Bell when we bought the franchise from them, and I think it was it was a few pallets of returnables.
It was probably a lot of returnables.
It was a lot of returnables, a 16 ounce and quarts. And, there's probably a lot of items that you don't even sell anymore that I mean, the beer is still in there, but there's different, as we can kind of look here, the different 24-ounce cans and this. It's just, you've been able to be an old school brewer, but never afraid to change with the times. You know, if there was something new, like I said, you developed the Yuengling brand. Your newest creation, the Yuengling Flight, is, man, it's absolutely tremendous beer. It is a great light beer. It holds up to any light beer in the business. And I think you've even messed around with a few, and one sitting right in front of us. So this Banko Fizz, maybe you could give us a little story about Banko Fizz.
That was done as a joke. We had something out there called Raging Eagle, which they tried to get a high alcoholic beer brand. And I don't know what was in that. It was a flavored beer, and that didn't go too well. So that little French bulldog is our dog. And I don't know whose parrot it is. He just happened to fly in and sit on the chair in the middle of the photograph for the packaging. But it's a good mango flavored beer. It really has some good flavor to it. It's only in one package, and it does all right. You know, it's kind of a fun thing to have. Women love it. You get girls to try that beer, and
I remember.
Love it.
I drank both the mango, the Raging Eagle, and this one. And this one goes down pretty good.
Yeah,
this goes down pretty good. So, any personal victories that you would have in your career, and any like highlight of a great accomplishment, and what was the biggest headwind that you faced here? Because I'm sure you've had them.
How much time do you have here with this podcast? Listen, when I bought the plant, when I bought the company in '85, we were doing 137,000 barrels, and I cut out some of the budget beers that my dad was making just to keep the bottle shop going, and we went down to about 128,000 barrels, and then we developed the lager brand. So everybody thought I was nuts for having an amber-colored beer out there. It was tasteful, it had good character to it. It was drinkable. It didn't limit the customer to one or two beers and feel full. And we really developed, our brewmaster, I said before, Ray Norbert, developed this stuff, and it's still our number one seller today. But we've also developed other brands like the Flight, which is basically a next generation of light beer, which is a light beer with good low stats for the consumer, and it has a flavor to it, taste and character to it. So, and that's what we do. We make everything we make has a taste and character. It's nothing tastes like a watered down bottle of beer. So we grew. We got up over 1 million barrels. We got over 2 million barrels, and we got up as high as 2.8 million barrels. And our business is down a little bit. So is everybody else. The big guy in the country is down like 40 to 60,000, 1 million barrels.
Yeah.
And where'd all that business go? So there's a lot of alternatives out there today besides beer.
Yeah, beer's a little soft. You know, we've always fought the liquor business, and you know, now liquor is they're putting it in cans, and so it's just another hurdle. And you know, the cannabis isn't, you like it or not, it's not ever going away.
It's still there.
It's gonna be a growing hurdle that for all of us, you know, going in the future. So 195 years. Now, I know in the middle of the summer, we were going to do this, and there were some things that happened, beyond our control, that we couldn't get this done. So I really wanted to talk about the 195th. That's a great accomplishment. And so in July, I was up here. I think it was about 1,000 degrees that day. And it was July 13th, and you had a concert with Lee Bryce. And I thought it was a great success, and the community seemed to really respond well. So can you talk a little bit about what that day was for you, and the pride that you had with your community coming together?
Well, we try to give back to the community, just like we do with the Arts Quest over in Bethlehem. I mean, Mr. Banko got me involved in that, and when I saw Mr. Banko was going to contribute to the construction of the Arts Quest program over there, I said, well, then I'm in. Mr. Banko's going to do it, I'll do it. And what we did with Lee Bryce, we had this year and 2 years before, we had a concert in Pottsville. And each year we doubled the size of the town in one day.
Yeah.
With the attendance. So they weren't all Pottsville people; they came from other areas. But it was a great concert, and we don't even have a place that we can really have a concert like that and get people around the stage and all. So they were sitting a block away watching Lee Bryce, but it was a great event. All the restaurants in Pottsville did well. The bars, after the concert was over, did well. No problems with fights or anything like that. It was just a great event. That's what we're proud to do. We try to support the community and give back to it.
Yeah, you've done very well for this community. I mean, people think of Yuengling, they think of Pottsville. They think of Yuengling. It's goes hand in hand. Anything? I guess now you're onward to 200. So maybe we won't get too far ahead of ourselves, but it's only 5 years away, and 200 years is a big accomplishment. And you have enough family here, and that it's easily attainable. And it's gonna be attained.
I'm just trying to stay alive till till our 200th anniversary. I'm 81 now. I got to get another 5 years under my belt. So
well, I promise it. When you're going to be here,
you keep selling enough beer, and I'll stay alive.
I'm going to be here too. So we really want to talk about a little bit about the shop here. So give us a history of this. Was an old.
This was the ice cream plant, which my grandfather built during Prohibition.
Okay.
And he expanded. It was probably 1/3 the size it is today when he first started. And he had great ice cream. His son Frederick ran it for him. They were partners in it. He was the oldest of the boys of his children, and he had good ice cream here. And his son closed it up in '85. Why, I don't know, but it was getting more and more difficult to sell your ice cream because the corner stores were going out of business. That's
Sure.
where he retailed his ice cream from. Plus, he had his own little store here, but he had great ice cream. So this sat idle for probably 30 years, and the roof was falling in, and we had to environmentally clean it up. And the guy that did it, I saw him here one night, and I said, "How you doing in there?" He said, "I'm almost finished up." He said, I said, "What kind of shape's the building?" And he said, "Surprisingly, it's still strong." I said, "Well, then we'll put the museum and gift shop in here." And he said, "I'm so tired of people knocking down these great old buildings." He come over and gave me a hug, and we decided to move the gift shop over here. It was in a little room over in the brewery, and we totally outgrew it. And this is doing very well. We get people from all over the world. Actually, there's a map out there where there's pins in the map from Russia and China and Japan and all over the place. But we get so many Eastern Pennsylvania people that come in, and now as we spread through the joint venture with Molson Coors, people from the Midwest are starting to come in here. If they're East, they'll come in here. I don't think they drive in just to see us, but they do make it a point to come in and see this museum and gift shop, and it's quite a tour. I mean, you see the caves that kept the beer cold back in the 1800s. There was no electricity. There was no way to keep the beer cold, so it's natural. Whether it's 100 degrees outside or 0, it's 54 degrees in the tunnels, and they see that. They walk right through the bottling line. I mean, we have no recourse but to do it that way. It's probably an insurance nightmare, but
Yeah.
the insurance company probably cringes. But it's too enjoyable for people to take it away. You don't want to take
Yeah.
it away from them, and they enjoy it that much. It's the best tour they've ever had. A lot of people will tell me that. So
Yeah,
It's interesting.
I've been on many. I've been to Guinness, and going over here to the old brewery. It's got that great feel, like you're talking about the caves and everything. It's just I would encourage anybody that can get up here. Now this facility here isn't just a little gift shop. I mean, there's a real museum here. You get to see all the things about Yuengling, about the 5 generations, and there's some interactive things. You might even find this guy, walking around somewhere here, which he's here every day. So if you happen to get up here, you might be able to shake his hand, take a picture, but it is well worth the trip. And
If I'm standing outside, people will walk up and say, "Buddy, do you work here? Where do we?" I say, "Yeah, I sure do." And I said, "Where you want to go in that door right there? You go in there." And they get in there and they see my picture up here, and they say, "I didn't know you were." It's fun. It's a fun place to visit, and people leave here with a good frame of mind about our company and the oldest brewery in America.
Yeah, for sure. So moving into like what's going on in like at the present moment is you've got some great strong alliances now. I've been selling your beer for over 25 years and delivered it for 20. So some of the things that you've done in the past, were I don't know to say kind of old school, but maybe they were. But again, when I say you could always change with the times, you're now with the Philadelphia Phillies. And anybody that watches a Phillies game with their pitching, you can see a lot of home runs. Well, most of the home runs you'll see go right over this man's sign.
Yeah.
And so it's probably, I say it's the best piece of point of sale in the state of Pennsylvania. It's on the Phillies left field wall. And I think it's great. And the Phillies Alliance has treated you well.
They treat us tremendously well, and they're really nice ownership. Even the Carpenter family, previous owners. I was a Phillies fan when the Dodgers left Brooklyn in 57, 58. And then I switched my alliance to Phillies, and we used to go down on the train to see Phillies double headers, and I'd see that Ballantyne scoreboard and thinking, boy, that would be neat if someday we could, be out there on the wall, at least be on the wall of this. And we had the opportunity to do it. We do so well in Eastern Pennsylvania and Jersey and Delaware, and it's been a good run for us because and we chose. I said during the negotiations for the for the program, I said, well, what about fence signage? And they didn't mention it, and some guy in our thing said, well, where's the signs that we could get? One was on the right field foul pole, and the other one was the left field fence. And the one guy sprouted out. He said, oh, we'll take the one on the right field foul pole. He said, we will not. We'll take the one on the left field fence. And it certainly gets a lot of publicity. As we get into, Pittsburgh Pirates play in Philadelphia, it shows up in Pittsburgh. We sell a lot of beer in Pittsburgh. So it pays dividends if you get the right spot.
Yes.
You just happen to be lucky to get it.
Mm-hmm. And also now, beginning this year, there's with the Flyers, so, with highlighting the Flight brand with the Flyers, nice program there. The Flight is such a good beer to get that next to a sports team in the Wells Fargo. It's also in Citizens Bank. It's got to be paying dividends for you.
It helps a lot. It's really our first experience with the Flyers, and they treat us very well too. They're just nice people. It's nice dealing with John Middleton with the Phillies and the Flyers people. I don't know them. Our marketing department closed that deal with them, but it helps. I remember when a lot of other breweries were, and they're not here around anymore. So we picked up a lot of sponsorships with those guys.
Yeah, that's great. And new this year, you have a nice alliance now with Field and Stream.
That's a new thing. We're going to do packaging with Field and Stream. They're trying to bring that magazine back, or I guess magazine back. And in Pennsylvania, everybody hunts and fishes or does something as far as that those two sports go. And I think it's going to help us all over the country with where our beers are marketed. We're basically promoting the light lager, which was our main light beer until the Flight came out, and it still outsells the Flight. But we're going to do packaging with the light lager brand. It'll help.
Yeah. So Pennsylvania. So I just heard the statistic that Pennsylvania, your home market, I know near and dear, sells the third most beer in the country behind California and Texas. But those two are trending down, and Pennsylvania's kind of holding its own. It's down, but it's holding its own in comparison.
Down very minuscule. We've been very fortunate through the downward spiral of the beer business, and we haven't had to close a brewery, and there's a couple guys that have closed breweries already.
Absolutely, and moved brands around, sold brands.
Yep.
It's rough sledding. So the partnerships you have with the wholesalers, I mean, you have a great network here in Pennsylvania. So that's really, we always say the wholesalers, we depend on the supplier, and the supplier just depends on us. So we call it a partnership, and I hope that Banko is a great partner to you as we feel you are to us.
Well, you mentioned old school a few minutes ago, and that's basically what your operation is. You don't cut services. People need beer, you get it to them, and we experience a lot of that in some other markets where there's conglomerates that have taken over the wholesalerships, and it's kind of out of our control as to how they represent our brands, and sometimes we don't like it, but I always taught if a guy runs out of beer, somebody get him a keg and keep him alive for the weekend or until you can get your truck to deliver to him. And it's Mr. Banko was that way, and you people have continued to operate that business the same way. We're certainly old school. I mean, we have the oldest brewery in the country here for 195 years, so old school is not new to us.
No. We have a lot of salesmen that have put beer in the back of their cars. If we can't get a truck there, we get our salesmen to do it. Yeah. It's important because there's nothing worse looking than a handle with a cup on top of it.
Out of stocks.
Out of stock.
It's a bad thing.
Well, I hope that people listening to us got a feel for what Dick and his family are trying to do here at this gift shop, and we encourage everybody to come and enjoy this. And I thank you, and don't forget these beers. So there's a new saying that I've heard a couple people been saying in some annual business plan meetings: beer that tastes like beer. Well, I could tell you, you've been making beer that tastes like beer for 195 years.
That's why we're here for 195 years, because we make good beer.
We make good beer, and from the premium all the way to the lager, to the flights, to our two horses here, Porter and Chesterfield. You come up, maybe we could pour one into the other, and we'll have that's a nice drink. So thanks, Dick. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
And I wish you all the best.
It's our pleasure. Thank you for your attention.